I was scraping burnt coffee residue off the bottom of the break room machine when Lance's voice echoed down the hall, loud and self-congratulatory as always. He was probably explaining to Mason or Hunter how they'd just revolutionized our supply chain logistics with my optimization algorithms like they'd invented the wheel. I stared at the stained sponge in my hand and thought, at least this thing gets noticed when it does its job. My name is Wesley Chambers. I'm 49 years old, and for the past 16 years, I've been the guy who keeps Pacific Supply Solutions from hemorrhaging money through inefficient routing and inventory disasters. Not the guy who gets credit for it, mind you, just the guy who actually does it. 16 years. I sat 3 doors down from the corner office for 16 years, holding together our logistics systems with the kind of methodical precision that kept warehouses running and executives sleeping well at night. I wasn't flashy. I didn't throw around buzzwords like disruptive innovation or agile methodology. I didn't volunteer for those ridiculous team-building retreats where grown men play trust fall games and talk about synergy, but I got things done. Fixed broken routing algorithms that were costing us thousands in fuel, built custom tracking systems that actually worked, streamlined our warehouse workflows so tight that operations called them bulletproof, before Lance made them stop using military terms because they sounded outdated. And in all that time, nobody asked what I was building after hours. I remember the exact moment things shifted. It was subtle at first, a nod here, a glance there. People would smile when I walked into meetings, but somehow the important conversations had already happened in Slack channels I wasn't invited to. I became the guy you see but don't really notice, a ghost with administrator privileges. Lance Hoffman, my boss, was always polite enough. Fresh MBA from Stanford, 38 years old and convinced that everything before his arrival was legacy technology. He called me reliable the way you'd describe an old pickup truck. When our inventory system crashed or when someone forgot to update our shipping parameters and we nearly missed a major Walmart delivery window, I'd step in, fix it in 20 minutes, and get a nod. Not a raise, not recognition, just a nod. I stayed because I believed, probably stupidly, that experience mattered. That 16 years of preventing supply chain disasters would count for something. That understanding logistics from the ground up, from the days when we tracked shipments on paper and actually talked to drivers, would be valued in a world obsessed with AI and automation. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Not there. The office was corporate gray in every possible way. Gray cubicles, gray meetings, gray people congratulating each other for implementing someone else's solutions 6 months late. You know the type folks who get promoted for suggesting we use a new dashboard template or proposing a Slack channel for delivery updates. Meanwhile, I was writing predictive algorithms at midnight because our forecasting system hadn't been properly updated since Amazon changed the game. I'd survived 3 different ownership changes, watched 4 CEOs come and go, seen entire departments reorganized around concepts I'd been quietly implementing for years. The Y2K crisis? I spent New Year's Eve 1999 in the office making sure our systems didn't crash while everyone else partied. The 2008 recession? I kept our shipping costs down when other companies were bleeding money on inefficient routes. But institutional memory doesn't get you promoted. Being the guy who remembers why certain protocols exist doesn't make you management material. Having the wisdom to know which shortcuts actually work and which ones will cost you millions down the road apparently makes you risk-averse in a culture that worships failing fast. I remember once, just once, offering an idea in a team meeting, a lightweight application I'd started working on at home, something that could predict supply chain bottlenecks before they happen. Real-time inventory optimization with machine learning capabilities that could save us millions in storage costs and delivery delays. Lance smiled, that patronizing smile he'd probably practiced in business school. We're not looking for side projects, Wesley. Focus on what you do best, keeping the trains running on time. The phrase stung more than it should have, keeping the trains running on time, like I was some glorified maintenance worker instead of someone who designed half the systems keeping this place profitable. So I did. Quietly, I built the application anyway. I spent weekends refining it, writing algorithms that could analyze shipping patterns across multiple distribution centers, cross-reference with weather data and traffic patterns, run predictive models for demand fluctuations. I even designed the interface myself. Clean, practical, something a warehouse manager could actually use without a computer science degree. Called it Streamwise AI. At first, it was just a folder on my personal laptop, something to tinker with when I couldn't sleep. which was happening more often lately. Maybe it was turning 49. Maybe it was watching my son graduate college and start his own career. But I'd been thinking a lot about legacy. What would I have to show for 2 decades in this industry besides a collection of Employee of the Month certificates gathering dust in my home office? By year 2, it was a functioning tool that could optimize our entire West Coast operations. I'd run test scenarios using our actual shipping data, anonymized of course, and the results were staggering. Streamwise could reduce delivery times by 18%, cut fuel costs by 23%, and identify potential bottlenecks 3 days before they happened. It was better than anything Pacific Supply was using internally and more sophisticated than most enterprise solutions I'd seen at industry conferences. And still, I said nothing, not because I was scared, but because I knew how this place worked. If I demonstrated it, they'd either dismiss it or worse, appropriate it and rewrite history, so Mason from operations was suddenly the visionary and I was just the guy who helped with the technical details. I'd seen it happen before. 3 years ago, I developed a simple fix for our GPS tracking system that was losing packages worth thousands of dollars. Took me 2 weeks of after-hours work to identify the bug and write a patch. When I presented it to Lance, he nodded politely and said he'd look into it. 6 months later, Hunter from logistics got a promotion for innovating our package tracking capabilities using my exact solution. That's when I learned to document everything. So I kept Streamwise off their network, documented every development phase, stored everything in external cloud services, wrote detailed version logs, built a paper trail that would make any intellectual property lawyer smile. I was quiet, but I wasn't stupid. The breakthrough came during the holiday rush of year 2. I was working late again, fixing another crisis that someone else would get credit for solving when I had what you might call an epiphany. I was watching our real-time logistics dashboard show red alerts across 3 states, delayed shipments, missed connections, angry customers, and I knew exactly how to fix it. But more importantly, I knew Streamwise could have prevented it entirely. I pulled up my application on my personal laptop and fed it the same data our official systems were choking on. In under 2 minutes, Streamwise had mapped out alternative routes, identified backup carriers, and calculated optimal redistribution points. It wasn't just solving the crisis, it was preventing the next one. That's when I stopped feeling guilty about working on it in secret. This wasn't a hobby project anymore. It was a solution to problems they didn't even know they had. There's something surreal about being invisible in your own workplace. Watching others take credit for problems you solved, sitting through meetings where someone suggests something you implemented 8 months ago, like it's revolutionary thinking. But here's the thing about being overlooked for too long: you either disappear completely or you learn to operate independently. I chose independence. The irony wasn't lost on me. While Lance held town halls about thinking outside the box and embracing disruption, I was actually disrupting an entire industry from my kitchen table at 2 a.m. While Mason gave PowerPoint presentations about leveraging artificial intelligence, I was writing AI algorithms that could outperform anything our company had ever purchased. The loneliness of it was the hardest part, having breakthrough moments with no one to share them with, solving problems that could change everything and having to keep quiet about it. My wife knew I was working on something, but even she didn't understand the scope until much later. How do you explain that you're building something worth millions while your employer thinks you're just the reliable old guy who fixes things? The 3rd year changed everything. Streamwise evolved from a smart tracking system into something approaching artificial intelligence. It started recognizing patterns I hadn't programmed it to find. It began predicting demand fluctuations based on factors I'd never considered. Social media trends, weather patterns 3 states away, even stock market movements that historically affected consumer behavior. I remember the night it correctly predicted a supply shortage 2 weeks before it happened. I was running a simulation using Black Friday data from the previous year, and Streamwise flagged a potential bottleneck at our Denver distribution center. I almost dismissed it as an error. The math didn't make obvious sense, but I trusted the algorithm and dug deeper. Sure enough, there was a perfect storm brewing. A regional trucking strike that hadn't been announced yet, combined with a major competitor's warehouse closure and an unexpected surge in demand for electronics. Streamwise had connected dots that no human analyst would have thought to connect. That's when I knew I had something special. This wasn't just logistics software anymore. It was predictive intelligence that could save companies millions and revolutionize how the entire industry operated. By the time the holiday party rolled around in my 3rd year of development, the pieces were already in motion. I'd started reaching out quietly to former colleagues who'd left Pacific Supply for better opportunities. I wanted to understand the market, see what other companies were paying for supply chain optimization tools. The numbers shocked me. Even basic logistics software was licensing for 10 to 15 million. Advanced AI systems were going for 30 to 50 million, sometimes more. And most of them couldn't do half of what Streamwise could do. But I still hadn't shown my hand. I was waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity to prove that they'd been sitting on a gold mine while treating its creator like furniture. Lance called an all-hands meeting 3 days before the party. He stood there like he was about to announce the cure for supply chain inefficiency. Pressed shirt, confident grin, coffee mug with some motivational quote his assistant probably picked out. "We're doubling down on internal innovation," he said like a general addressing troops. "No more outside distractions, no personal projects. Everything goes through proper channels moving forward." I glanced around the conference room. A few people nodded automatically. Someone actually applauded. I just sat there feeling my stomach tighten. 2.5 years. That's how long I'd been perfecting Streamwise AI. Nights, weekends, while they argued about open office layouts and team building budgets, my application wasn't a distraction. It was a solution to problems they were too busy playing politics to recognize. So I raised my hand, calm, steady. I've actually been developing something in that space, a predictive logistics tool, real-time optimization, machine learning architecture. I could demonstrate it. Lance didn't even pause. "Let's not reinvent the wheel, Wesley. I'm sure it's interesting, but enterprise-level logistics isn't something you build in your garage." He never asked what programming languages I'd used, never asked what patterns it analyzed, never asked which industry standards it met. He didn't even look. The dismissal was so casual, so automatic, that for a moment I wondered if I'd actually spoken out loud. Around the table, a few people shifted uncomfortably. Mason stared at his notepad. Hunter examined his coffee cup like it held the secrets of the universe. They all knew what they'd just witnessed, a man being professionally erased in real time. After the meeting, I sat in the parking garage for 15 minutes just staring at my steering wheel. You know that moment when you realize someone has become so accustomed to overlooking you that they've gone functionally blind? Not just to your work, but to your capabilities entirely. I was past frustrated, past angry. It felt clinical, like watching someone consistently choose the wrong answer when they had all the information they needed to choose correctly. That's when my phone buzzed. Text from my son at college. "Dad saw an article about AI and supply chain management. Reminded me of those late nights you spent coding. You were ahead of the curve on this stuff." I smiled for the first time that day. At least someone in my family understood what I'd been working toward. Then, 3 days later, a gift disguised as an administrative error arrived in my inbox. Legal had copied me by mistake on an internal thread about personal projects and intellectual property. The subject line read, "Chambers Application Review." The message was brief. "Management reviewed, not aligned with current priorities. No IP filing requested. Treating as personal hobby project." I stared at that email for a full minute. "No IP filing requested. Personal hobby project." Translation, I was legally clear. They'd formally declined interest. And now, if I walked away with my application, they couldn't touch a single line of code. I quietly saved that email in a folder I labeled documentation and started making calls. The first company I contacted was Highland Logistics Partners. I'd met their CTO at a conference 2 years earlier, back when I still thought Pacific Supply might appreciate innovation. We'd had a brief conversation about predictive analytics, and he'd given me his card. I'd kept it. Not sure why at the time. "Wesley Chambers," he said when I called. "Pacific Supply's systems architect. I remember you. What can I do for you? I've developed something I think you'd be interested in seeing." "What kind of something?" "Supply chain optimization AI, predictive analytics, real-time route optimization, inventory management. It can prevent bottlenecks 3 days before they happen." There was a pause. "You built this at Pacific Supply?" "I built this in my spare time. Pacific Supply has formally declined interest." "Can you prove that?" "I have documentation." "When can you come in?" The meeting was set for the following Tuesday. Professional office, no corporate buzzword posters, and nobody tried to explain why their collaborative workspace would revolutionize my creativity. Just 3 partners and a legal advisor who asked the right questions, the kind that told me they'd actually read the supply chain optimization guidelines before deciding to build a business around them. I liked them immediately. I'd rehearsed my presentation for weeks, but once I sat down, it just flowed. I pulled up Streamwise AI on my laptop, ran a live demonstration using sanitized shipping data, and, in under 8 seconds, the system identified 4 potential bottlenecks and optimized routing across 3 distribution networks. 2 clicks, immediate results. Clean visual reports that would save any logistics company millions. They didn't just nod politely, they leaned forward. "Show us the predictive capabilities," one partner said. I loaded historical data from the previous holiday season, the same data that had caused Pacific Supply so much trouble. Streamwise analyzed patterns, cross-referenced external factors, and produced a forecast that accurately predicted every major disruption that had actually occurred. "This is remarkable," the legal advisor said. "How long have you been developing it?" 2.5 years, and Pacific Supply knows about this. I pulled out my documentation folder, development logs showing every line of code written on personal equipment, cloud service receipts in my name, screenshots of the internal email where they'd explicitly waived interest. They declined to review it, I explained, formally and in writing. There was a long pause. Then came the question I'd been waiting for. What would it take for us to license this? I didn't name a figure immediately. I'd done my research. Similar logistics optimization tools were licensing for 20 to 35 million, depending on capabilities and client base. But I didn't want to just sell it and walk away. "I'm thinking partnership," I said. "Joint development, shared ownership. I retain technical control and continue development. You provide capital, legal support, and market access." They agreed to consider it before I'd finished explaining the terms. By December, we had preliminary agreements in place. Streamwise AI would operate under a newly formed joint entity. I'd retain creative control and technical ownership. They'd handle business development and provide the resources to scale it properly. The contracts were more generous than I dared to hope. Not just because of the money, though the numbers were substantial, but because of the respect. For the first time in years, people were talking to me like I was an expert instead of a maintenance worker. But I wasn't ready to leave Pacific Supply yet. I had unfinished business. Then I went back to Pacific Supply. Every morning I showed up at 8:15. Not too early to seem overeager, not too late to appear disengaged. I fixed Lance's broken quarterly reports when he realized someone had corrupted his logistics metrics. I stayed late one Tuesday to help a junior analyst push through a shipping update that someone else would present on Friday. And through it all, I said nothing. No announcements, no hints. I didn't even change my routine. Same navy suits, same reliable sedan, same invisible presence in a building that assumed it still controlled my professional future. There's something almost meditative about walking around a place that thinks it owns your next career move while knowing it doesn't even own your current project. Every time Lance made jokes about keeping innovation in-house, I just nodded. Every time someone talked about the importance of team players, I agreed completely. Let them believe what they needed to believe. By then, Highland's development team was already migrating my code to enterprise servers. The patent applications were filed and pending. The first client contracts were being negotiated with major retailers I'd contacted months earlier when Pacific Supply never returned their inquiries about optimization consulting. My world split cleanly in 2 past and future. One held my employee ID badge, the other held my name on legal documents worth more than I'd made in 16 years combined. By the time I walked into Pacific Supply's holiday party, the usual crowd was already gathering around the bar someone had optimistically set up next to the copy machine. The conference room had been transformed with string lights and cheese platters that looked like they'd been ordered from the same catalog for the past decade. Nobody really noticed me at first, which was standard. I was wearing the same charcoal suit I'd worn to last year's party. Hair combed the same way I'd combed it for 16 years. No name tag needed, no guest to introduce. Just me, a glass of decent whiskey, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing I didn't need to pretend anymore. Lance was already holding court near the front of the room. "This year's been about people who really stepped up," he announced, raising his glass like he was addressing shareholders. "People who made Pacific Supply what it is today." Here came the list. Mason from operations who'd successfully implemented a tracking system I designed 7 months earlier. Hunter from logistics who'd discovered the value of predictive analytics after I'd spent 4 weeks rebuilding our forecasting protocols. Polite applause. Forced smiles. Someone actually whistled. My name didn't come up. Not that I expected it to, but there was something almost funny about watching a highlight reel of my own work being credited to other people. As I waited at the bar, someone appeared beside me with the kind of grin that always followed 2 beers and no filter. You still working on that side project? He asked like we were sharing an inside joke. I smiled, small and easy. Not anymore. He laughed. What? It finally crashed. Man, I told you that thing was probably too complicated for weekend programming. I took a sip of my drink, let the silence stretch just long enough. No, I sold it. He blinked. Wait, what? The words weren't loud? I didn't make an announcement or call for attention, but they were just clear enough for the conversation around us to pause slightly. Enough for Lance, standing 6 feet away and basking in applause, to turn his head mid-sentence. I sold it, I repeated, calm and matter-of-fact, like I was confirming tomorrow's weather forecast. The guy squinted at me, waiting for a punchline that wasn't coming. Behind him, I could see Lance staring, his expression shifting from confusion to something approaching recognition. "You're serious?" he asked. I didn't elaborate, just raised my glass, took another sip, and let the moment settle. "You actually sold it? That thing you were always working on?" Lance had stopped talking entirely now. The room's energy was shifting, conversations trailing off as people sensed something happening without quite understanding what. "How much?" Lance's voice cut through the background noise, sharp and direct. I looked at him steadily, no drama, no theatrics. Just a man stating a simple fact. 58 million. You could feel it hit the room like a physical thing. Not just silence, but that particular kind of quiet that happens when everyone's brain stops processing for a moment. The guy next to me choked on his beer so hard it came out his nose. Lance's face went through several expressions in rapid sequence. Disbelief, calculation. Something that might have been panic. "You're not serious." I took another sip of my whiskey, perfectly calm. The announcement goes public Monday. That's when the room really stopped. The woman from HR who'd never learned my first name. The guy from IT who'd always treated me like tech support. The junior analysts who'd somehow never noticed that I'd been solving their problems for 16 years. Someone from legal was already pulling out their phone, probably checking financial news sites for press releases that hadn't been published yet. I didn't move, didn't gesture. Just let the truth settle where all their assumptions used to be. Streamwise AI, I said quietly, answering the question nobody had asked yet. Predictive logistics optimization. Highland Logistics Partners wanted exclusive licensing rights. Lance's mouth opened and closed like he was trying to speak underwater. Around us, conversations had stopped entirely. People were staring openly now, trying to reconcile the invisible maintenance guy with someone who'd just announced an $58 million deal. I finished my whiskey and set the glass down gently. No ceremony, no speech. Just the weight of reality replacing years of being overlooked. "Enjoy the party," I said to no one in particular, and walked toward the door. Behind me, the silence was breaking into fragments of whispered conversation. Questions being asked that should have been asked years ago. Recognition arriving exactly 16 years too late, but I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. Monday's announcement would make it official. By Tuesday, I'd be Highland's new Chief Technology Officer. By the end of the month, industry magazines would be calling Streamwise AI foundational technology for next-generation logistics. The quiet ones aren't always planning revenge. Sometimes we're just planning ahead. Experience doesn't demand respect. It earns it by building something they can't ignore. And now, finally, they couldn't. Sometimes the biggest victories happen in the quietest voices, when you stop asking for permission and start building your own future. They say patience is a virtue, but I learned it's also a weapon, sharp enough to cut through years of being underestimated.